please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
The big debate this evening. For the last few years, India's startups have been demanding the removal or the modification of a tax structure which has come to be known as the angel tax. This was introduced in Section 56 of the Income Tax Act in the budget of 2012. Now, according to the clause, the taxman is free to treat an investment made into a startup as income if it exceeds the company's fair market value. The taxman argues that funding above the market value should be considered income and asks why would anyone make a higher investment in a company if the value is much less. Companies argue that valuations are subjective. There are different methods to calculate valuation and that a company should not be punished if its performance does not match with the initially projected valuation. Now, last week, we learned from sources that the government might look at some sort of exemption by investments that have been made by individuals in certain startups. In fact, speaking to us at the India Business Leader Awards, Finance Secretary Hasmukh Adia confirmed that a discussion on the issue was in fact underway. Listen in.
Mr. Adia, let me ask you this, and we've got a lot of startups here in the room. There was the expectation that there would have been some sort of a clarification, especially when it comes to valuation of the angel investments that are coming in to startups and Section 56. And there have been conversations on between the CBDT and the DIPP since the budget and even ahead of the budget. What can we expect, sir? Because there's a lot of startups who are in genuine pain.
Well, those startups which are recognized by DIPP, those startups are already exempted from Section 56. So that's one class of startup which is already exempted. But there are others about when, so there is a discussion going on between CBDT and DIPP. I'm not aware of the latest status of what happened to that. But we can expedite it and we'll see what best we can do.
Well, that is the Finance Secretary. Now, even as startups await clarity and some relief on the angel tax issue, many of them continue to receive notices from the Income Tax Department. To continue our discussion on this issue, joining us now, Sreejith Mooliyal, co-founder of True Elements, and Junaid Shaikh, the CEO of Radoratory Technologies. Sreejith and Junaid, appreciate you joining us. You just heard the Finance Secretary there. As we've been reporting, there have been discussions that have been underway between the CBDT and the DIPP. Clarity is still awaited. Sreejith, I know that startups are looking at the possibility of legal recourse as well. Where do things currently stand? How much is the pain now?
Shereen, thanks for allowing us on board. And what Finance Secretary has told is not what the real fact on the ground is. As on 13th March, all of us, all the startups registered, 8,600 plus startups registered in DIPP, got a startup kit which clearly mentions that the DIPP certification will not be considered for Section 56 exemption and the startups need an IMB certification. Which is what we are contesting, because the classification or qualification to get an IMB certification is the startup need to be innovative. And if you're telling that only an innovative startup can raise an angel investment, then we are not talking about Startup India. So I think there is some, at least what the document which all of us have got, which is what Finance Secretary is telling is two different stuff. Because we have got a startup kit which clearly mentioned that if you need an angel tax exemption, you need an IMB certification. That's one. And subsequently to your question, so after this startup kit which you received, we actually were waiting for a positive response from the government which didn't come through. And after this startup kit, all of us have approached lawyers to file a PIL, because otherwise we don't see any hope in the end of the tunnel. Because we have founders who are exploring to move out of the country. There is a founder whose bank account has been frozen. There is a founder whose angel investor is asking for an indemnity to be signed in case if an angel tax comes in, it will not be carved out from my funds and it will be carved from the company. So this is the ground reality. This is what we are facing.
Okay, you're saying that the startup kit that all of you have received basically causes more confusion. It hasn't given any clarity, and you're saying that the interministerial board's certification is required to get the waiver from Section 56. You said you're also looking at the possibility of a PIL. What have legal experts told you? What is the legal opinion that you've got so far say?
we are getting a mixed response. We are not getting a clear-cut idea because we are here questioning a law, right? As of now, whatever the CBDT notification and the Act says that we need to get an IMB certification. And what we are trying to question through the legal system is that an innovation, which is the qualification criteria for IMB, applicable for all the startups? Will it be counterproductive for startups? So we are not getting a clear cut from lawyers. We have spoken to 3 lawyers in Bombay, and we are trying to file it in Bombay High Court. So that's why we are stuck, because we are not getting a clear-cut positive response. And last Friday we heard that government is reconsidering the overall structure. So we are going ahead with the legal, but hoping before that something comes through. Otherwise, because we need to file this by the end of April, because all of us have got notices as of December end, and we were supposed to file an appeal, which we did without paying the 20%. And beyond 2 months, we will not get a leeway. So that means by end of April, most of our company accounts could get frozen. So that means the time we have is next 20 days. So either we get a positive response from government, or we need to go the legal way. So we still haven't got a clear-cut answer from lawyers. So as probably...
Sure. Junaid?
Yeah, so I was asking.
Junaid, let me come to you now. As Sreejith was pointing out that you have about 20 days now, and of course the hope is that there will be some clarity that will come in from the government by then, but if not, then a PIL is possibly what you are looking at. Junaid, give me a sense of the kind of pain that your company is faced with.
Hi Shereen. So just recently we signed a term sheet with an investor who is committed in funding us. But as a founder, I have to protect investors' money and see that all of the money is spent on building and growing the business. And therefore, our company can be a part of growth story of India. But the ground reality is different, and investor is not investing the money to pay tax again on top of his income tax, right? It doesn't make any sense. I'm not sure what to do, whether to take funding now and get slapped with a notice, or wait for a change in law, which again is very difficult for us as startups, because we have to move at rocket speed to spread into the market, because startup world is very competitive. And government will say that we have to, startups should raise money from venture capital firms. But it's important to understand that this is coming to play at a later stage, not at the seed stage. And second thing, what I want to ask was, see, IMB says that it gives tax benefits for startups who they consider as innovative, right? But innovative is kind of, yes. But innovation is again kind of subjective, Shereen. Innovation means different things for different people. So what they think is innovative, it shouldn't be like that, right? So that's what
Have either of you tried to apply for the IMB certification? Yes. Junaid, let me start by asking you.
Yes. My certification is currently in process. Yes.
Same with us, Shereen. So we were the group of 18 startups which the Finance Ministry was considering as case studies to understand this case better. So all of us have been in consideration for IMB certification. But the scarier part is, of the 3,600 plus startups who were considered for IMB certification, in last 86 have got the certification. Okay, that means the rest all startups will have to pay the angel tax. Okay, that's where the problem starts. For example, innovation.
How long, Sreejith, how long has it been? But how long has it been since you applied for the IMB certification?
So IMB committee sits once in a month, around 15th of every month. So they pick up cases from their internal groups, or else they directly get applications for IMB certification. In our cases, all of our cases were picked up last month, so they should be sitting on those cases this month. Hopefully, if they will look at our cases this month.
Okay, well, let's hope that there is some sort of clarity that emerges from the government. We are given to understand that the CBDT and the DIPP are in discussion. Sreejith and Junaid, appreciate you joining us here to discuss the pain that's being felt across startups in the country, and we'll, of course, keep you updated on the developments.
Okay, Shereen, thanks for taking us through that discussion. We will take a very short break, though, on that note. Up next, Prime Minister Narendra Modi flags off India's first all-electronic locomotive from Madhepur district of Bihar. It is the first big Make in India project completed by Alstom of France. We speak to the management on the other side. Welcome back. You're still with India Business Hour Plus. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today flagged off Indian Railways' first all-electric locomotive from Madhepur district of Bihar. This electric locomotive has been built by French rail transport company Alstom in Madhepur. Now, India has signed a contract with Alstom for manufacturing 800 electric locomotives. Ashpreet Sethi caught up with the India head, who said that the company will be delivering close to 500 electric locos to Indian Railways by the year 2022.
Our plan with our partner Tata is clearly to complete the full factory by the end of this year and to ramp up the full production. And the production will start by end 2018, early 2019 with the full-fledged delivery. Next year we plan to deliver around 50 locomotives, and from after we will ramp up to 120, 130 locomotives a year. I think globally 2022 is now 3.5 years, 4 years from now. We can expect that we have roughly 500 locomotives running on the Indian network in commercial operations, plus more under manufacturing, of course.
Now, Japanese two-wheeler giant Honda today warned that sales of two-wheelers could see a decline once BS6 norms kick in. Speaking to CNBC TV18's Radoratory Tech, Honda Motorcycle and Scooters CEO said that the production cost of two-wheelers will jump after the implementation of the BS6 norms, and this could lead to the market shrinking by the year 2020. Here's a slice of his explanation on what he means by that.
Not only Honda, but also all Indian motorcycle manufacturers face the problem, additional cost to apply PS6, for example, fuel injection. So because of that, we need to reflect some of them cost to increase the price. So customer may hesitate to buy motorcycle. So we are going to face a problem. The big motorcycle market itself may struggle to go down. But after that, it can recover again. Okay. That's our estimation. Okay.
All right, moving on to a CNBC TV18 exclusive. The race for IDBI Federal Life Insurance has reached its next level as the deadline to submit bids ended yesterday. Several contenders submitted their bids yesterday. In fact, remember, the company may attract valuations of up to 6,000 crore rupees, and that figure and many other details had first been reported by Yash Jain in December. Let's bring him in. He has been tracking these very closely. Yash, which companies have submitted bids, and do we have any clarity on the timeline as to when this may close?
Well, certainly a very important update as far as the stake sale process for IDBI Federal Life Insurance is concerned. We are given to understand that the last day for submission of binding bids from interested players was yesterday, and there are about 5 life insurance players which have submitted their binding bids for 100% stake in IDBI Federal Life Insurance. These players include names like Max Life Insurance, Aditya Birla Sun Life Insurance, Tata AIA Life Insurance, Exide Life Insurance, as well as Kotak Life Insurance. Now, how does this really flow from here, and how soon can we have the buyer's name as far as IDBI Federal Life Insurance is concerned? What we are given to understand is that the sole banker to this particular transaction, which is JP Morgan, will evaluate these 5 bids over the next 10 to 15 days, post which, depending on the value which the company is attracting, Federal Bank and the foreign insurance partner Aegis Insurance, which hold 26% each in the company, will take a call whether they want to participate in this particular stake sale process or not, post which 2 highest bidders, which is H1 and H2, will be selected, and eventually, depending on which bid out of H1 and H2 stands the test, one final buyer will be selected, and we are given to understand that this entire process is expected to be completed by May end this year.
Okay, May end is a pretty fast timeline, Yash. Thanks for joining in with that. But let's get to some of the other business stories of the day. A quick look at what has been making headlines. The Aeon GSW Steel Consortium wins the bid to buy Monnet Ispat. Sources say that lenders have cleared GSW Steel's resolution plan 4 days before the deadline of 270 days ends on the 14th of April. Monnet Ispat's debt stands at a whopping 10,000 crore rupees. GSW Steel has offered over 2,700 crore rupees to lenders and an equity infusion of over 1,000 crore rupees. Lenders will have to take a haircut of over 70%. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley asked Finance Secretary Hasmukh Adhia to examine the possibility of increasing the government stake in the goods and services tax network or converting it into a 100% government subsidiary. Currently, private financial institutions hold around 51% in the GSTN, state governments hold 24.5% and the centre holds the remaining 24.5%. Okay, we will take a short, quick commercial break on that note. Up next, 7 national parties declared a combined income of over 1,559 crore rupees for financial year 17. Who is the richest of them all? We will tell you after the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Now, 7 national parties declared a combined income of over 1,559 crore rupees for financial year 2017. Now, this according to a report released by Delhi-based think tank Association for Democratic Reforms. Moreover, according to that very report, 4 out of the 7 national parties, that is the BJP, the Congress, the NCP and the CPI, have consistently delayed submitting their audit reports for the past 5 years. Kevin Lee, who has done the number crunching and looked at those reports, is here with the details. Kevin, who is the richest of them all?
Now, this particular report by the Association for Democratic Reforms tracks the reported income and expenditure of India's 7 biggest political parties, which received around 1,600 crore rupees in FY17 and spent 1,200 crore rupees over the same period. More than half of this money went to the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, which saw its reported income nearly double to 1,034 crore rupees from 571 crore rupees in FY16. The BJP was also the biggest spender with 710 crore rupees spent in FY17, and 85% of this expenditure was towards elections and related propaganda. As you can see in this chart behind me, this is the BJP's highest reported income in the last 4 years. The Indian National Congress, on the other hand, has seen a decline in reported income, raking in 225 crore rupees in FY17 as opposed to 262 crore rupees in FY16. The Congress party spent nearly 100 crore rupees more than it earned in FY17, with 46% of this money being spent on elections and related purposes and 36% being spent on administrative and general expenses. This is the 4th year in a row that the Congress party has seen a decline in reported income, and the 3rd year in the last 4 years where the party has spent more in a year than it has raised.
Okay, that's an interesting takeaway, Kevin. Thanks for taking us through those important numbers. But let's take a look at some of the other national headlines today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and BJP President Amit Shah will observe a day-long fast on the 12th of April over disruptions during the budget session of the Parliament. All BJP MPs will also go on fast over the washout of the session. The death of rape victim's father in police custody in Unnao sparks outrage. National Human Rights Commission issues notice to Uttar Pradesh government as well as the police. The notice calls for a detailed report on the matter, including action taken against the lawless police officials. Also expects the DGP to explain for not communicating the custodial death to the commission within 24 hours. All right, moving on, the Information and Broadcasting Ministry has advised the Broadcast Audience Research Council to discontinue the adoption of landing channels for the purpose of television audience measurement. Now, this after a few broadcasters complained to the ministry about the alleged misuse of landing page, which is basically the logical channel number which is first displayed when a set-top box is switched on. CNBC TV18, Shibani Kharat caught up with Bark India's CEO Partho Das Gupta. Here are what he had to say about the ministry's order.
Many a times, a lot of channels during a launch or during some promotion or during whatever, a big day or whatever, they try and put their channel on the landing page itself, the page that you switch on which gets on when you are switching it on. So that kind of gives a slight favorable advantage to the ratings, basically, because you're spending some time on the channel anyway.
So for a body like Bark, is it possible to not actually consider the channel when it's there on the landing page for you guys?
See, finally we have to go with the ministry's guidelines, okay? I mean, we are fully committed to do things as per the ministry's guidelines. So we have to find a way. See, right now the way things are with the watermark that we do, it is difficult to identify which slot it is being used, whether it's a landing channel or a dual LCN, we don't know, okay? But we will try and figure out a way along with Ministry and TRAI how to handle this issue.
All right, on that note, it's time to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. But before we go, here's an update. It's raining medals for India at the 2018 Commonwealth Games.